Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Paramagurubhyo Namaha. Om Aim Reem Kleem Chamundaye Viche. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 14th of May 2025. I want to offer my prostrations, Anantakoti Namaskara, Dandavat Pranam, Pradikshana to all the great sages, all the incarnations of Bhagavan throughout the world, and may the Lord give Sadbuddhi to all human beings present on the planet today. We have been examining Bhagavad Gita verses 62 and 63 with regards to the Buddhi. Buddhi is human intelligence. I just want to make a few comments this morning about this further. There are obviously many ways to analyze these ideas. There is quite a bit involved in the development of one's intellect, development of one's bhavana. So these two go together. The development of emotion into divine emotion. Right? So both of these, intellect and emotion, they grow. So the emotion, which is within its usual range of emotional function, becomes purified. It becomes Shuddha Bhav. From Shuddha Bhav, it becomes Divya Bhav. So there's stages here, 3 stages. Same thing is true with the intelligence. There is Ashuddha Buddhi. From that, there is Shuddha Buddhi. Shuddha meaning purified intelligence. And from the purified intelligence, there is Divya Buddhi. Right? Okay, now the same thing is true with the 5 senses. For example, take the vision. There is Ashuddha Drishti, meaning impure vision. Then there is purified vision, Shuddha Drishti. And then beyond that is Divya Drishti. Right? So there's Ashuddha, Shuddha, Divya. This is true for all 5 senses. It is true for the emotions. It is true for the intellect. It is true for our speech also. Our speech can be very ashuddha at times, can be very mixed with different ahankar, those kinds of things. It can be purified. So to reach a state of purna shuddhata, that is called Shuddha Sattva Maya. That is, Sattva Gun is gotten to its highest level. It is still within Maya, but it is a doorway. Right? So when Bhagavan Krishna is saying Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati, to prevent that from happening, we can deliberately, consciously decide, day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 interaction at a time, that this interaction can be, will be, is going to be Shuddha. We can start with that by bringing in the name of Bhagavan, Om Namah Shivaya or Om Namo Narayanaya, whichever Ishtadevata, bring the name inside, and that will make the mind Shuddha. And this is the point Shankaracharya ji is making. Shankaracharya ji is talking about the purification of the Antakarana through devotion. When we are doing every single day, almost 30, sometimes 40 minutes or even more, mantras and all these stutis and everything, why we do that? Because we want to raise our vibration and make the mind purified so that it can then resonate with the ideas in Vedanta and Jnana can come from there. Right? So this is the point. Without a purified mind, purified heart, that Brahma Vidya cannot sit inside of us. It will not be possible. It will bounce off. It will bounce right off actually. So for it to actually go inside, that purity is necessary. And it's an interesting word. I mean, who defines what is meant by purity? Anubhav ka vishay hai. Obviously it's an experience, right? We know this from objects like purified water. If you have water that has mud in there, you can filter out the mud and it'll be purified water. Go put it through the Brita system and it'll be purified. We know that with regards to substances. But what about with regards to the पंच विषयस? शब्द स्पर्श रूप रसगंध, इसको आहार कहते हैं, इंद्रियों का आहार. इन गुजराती विषय इंद्रियों आहार शुद्ध राखो. वचनामृत में भगवान स्वामीनारायण कहते हैं इन गरुड़ा प्रथम 18 वचनामृत. He says that the 5 senses have to be kept purified. Shuddhakaran. If you don't do that, there's a strong statement in there in Garuda Pratham 18. He says that there's no chance of liberation. That's his opinion and perspective. Somebody might disagree with that, and that's fine. I mean, whatever, But the point is that his perspective, Maharaj's perspective, is that the antakarana cannot be purified until we deliberately, consciously put a meaningful boundary around the way the senses function for the purpose of purification. I hope that makes sense. Just take our eyes. We are seeing so many different kinds of things, right, throughout the whole day. But what does Viveka dictate? What ought to be seen that is going to promote the purification of the antakarana? Antakarana is the inner instrument, mana buddhi chit ahankar. The impression is coming from inside. You have to decide what needs to go inside. It's a decision, right? Whatever we put inside ourselves is what will resonate, what will bounce back, what will keep rolling around inside. So it is a decision through the 5 senses. What today, just make it like you and me, all of us today, what needs to go inside? Those who are जो भगवान के जो बड़े-बड़े भक्त हैं, they are connected with Paramatma most of the time in some way or another, which is great, which is beautiful, right? And then still doing all the Vyavarika activity, Vyavarika Satyam, but it is done with Karma Yoga. Like if you're working somewhere, you're not going to be saying, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, we're performing, they're taking a mala and doing that, and you cannot do that activity while doing your job, let's say. You may not be able to do that, right? So that is not the way it is to be done. When before the job begins, just take this name Shri Ram, offer it as a seva, do the job for the benefit of the world or whatever. The world is within the 3 gunas of Maya. It is a wish well for all. When the job ends, again, offer the entire activity to Bhagwan. Try this actually. I know I've been saying this over and over again. Do it. And see what is Karma Yoga. Now, in doing that activity, if you have breaks in between, you can take the name of Lord, or Manan Chintan chalta hai, like in the background. Background में हमारा मन जितना ब्रह्म चिंतन करेगा, boy, that is fantastic. Most human beings in the background is Rajogun, Tamogun, Vishaya Bhog, which restaurant to go to, which party to go to, cannot wait until Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And then because of that, there's a restaurant even, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. You see, just go like 5 p.m. Friday driving. Everybody's out there together. We hate our lives so much. We cannot wait until this weekend. कितनी terrible situation है. जीवन की कला नहीं कहते जीवन की कला समझ भी ख्याल नहीं कोई नहीं. Nobody knows. How to live this life with joy. So thank God. Then Monday morning comes, majority of the population says, I don't want to go to work. I hate my job. I don't want this. Call out sick. So many people call out sick Monday morning. Oh, my stomach is hurting. This is hurting. That is hurting. So many things are going on. They don't want to, because they don't want to go to work. Change the bhavana. That's what Bhagavan Krishna is teaching us in chapter 3 in the Gita. Change the entire approach to life. And that will bring about joy. That will bring about ananda, right? So these are basic points to keep in mind. Now, that fusion of karma and bhakti. See, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, it gets infused inside. So when people are going to temples, doing a different activity, that is a form of bhakti, upasana. Fine, beautiful. But mandir there's no question of going and coming out of the temple. You are the temple. That's what Shankaracharya ji is saying. You are mandir. Mandir का meaning भी क्या है? जहाँ मन स्थिर होता है, that is called mandir. तो मन स्थिर कहाँ होना चाहिए? The external environment is necessary. Guru paramparas are necessary, so many things. It's inside of you. Bring it inside. We ourselves become mandir. हम ही स्वयं मंदिर बन जाते. How beautiful is that? कितनी सुंदर बात है. So again, how does this happen? 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. It's a decision to be made through the buddhi that I want to reach divya buddhi, divya bhav, divya kriya. 3 बात है. Buddhi divya banani hai. This buddhi nashat pranashyate. We don't ever want to go in that direction. That kam and krodh and lobh and in all that mess. This smriti branchad. I do want to talk more about that, but that's a degradation. We don't want any of that thing. So rather than focusing too much on the degradation, focus on the upliftment and set the highest destination. Now, how do we do that? Let's just take another 2 minutes. I want to stick to time. I know you guys are busy. Stick to, that how do we set the highest destination? That my buddhi, this intelligence, I want to make it divine. Not just shuddha. Shuddha to hai. That is just an intermediate stage. But there can be ahankar of that, and that is still not the main thing. Divya and shuddha mein bahut farak hai. There are 2 stages. Buddhi can be purified, emotion can be you can have very good feelings for others. That is Shuddha Bhav. Fine. It's very good. But Divya Bhav, what is the difference? Divya Bhav means, or Divya Bhavana means that the energies that are inside Bhakti have gone outside of Sattva Gun. Satvik jo kriya hai. See, there's Tamo Gun, Rajo Gun, Sattva Gun. Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. Right? So when Sattva Gun is brimming and one is doing upasana of Bhagwan, because Bhagwan is beyond the gunas. Gunatitaha sa uchyate. Guno se bahar. Gunatit means beyond the 3 gunas of Maya. Right? It should be very clear. This word is in chapter 14 in the Gita. Gunatit. Gunatit means beyond the 3 gunas of Maya. So who is beyond the 3 gunas of Maya? Paramatma. Any of the avatars that we worship in Sanatan Dharma, we consider as Gunatit. Fine. Beautiful. Great sages can be considered as Gunatit also. Right? And then we consider ourselves that way, meaning that when we connect with Paramatma, that tattva that is beyond the 3 gunas of Maya, beyond the Sattva Gun, then something special happens. That connection uplifts the bhavana, the emotions and the intellect into that dimension beyond Sattva Gun. Now how do you describe that? Is it describable? No. Nobody can describe that. Impossible. We can describe Sattva Gun. We cannot describe Gunatit. Iska description is beyond language, that's why. Nonetheless, we're using language. So how do we talk about it? What's in that? Well, it is the height of saintliness. It is the height of the dissolving of the ego. It is the height of realization of the Atma. It is the realization of the Atma. Atmanan Brahma, Nijatmanam Brahma Rupam, Dehatraya Vilakshanam. The Jiva Brahma Naparaha. This oneness is actually realized. So you're sitting even just by yourself and, the usual confusions of the mind, none of that is present. Bilkul nahi. What is present instead is Akhanda Ananda, Akhanda Jnana, Divya Jnana. So the mind, body, senses are brimming with divinity inside. But this is a very evolved stage. So it doesn't matter where you are, the mind, our inner development is so much because of Akhanda Satsang, continuous absorption in Paramatma, which is a very big thing, then that reaches Gunatit state. So ye bahut badi baat hai. Even to get a glimpse of Divyata is not easy. Even to get a glimpse of Pavitrata is not easy. Shuddhata and Pavitrata are the same. But Divyata ki baat to, wo to alag baat hai totally. Usme to adhyatma hai pura. That's a totally, it's a dimensional jump. From Sattva Gun, Shuddha Sattva Gun means Sattva Gun has a range also. There's then only Shuddha Sattva. And somebody might consider that person as enlightened, and that is not the case. A person may look like completely enlightened, but they're still having that cover of the Sattva Gun. So there's a there's a difference there. When the break actually happens by grace, the break by grace, Krupa, Bhagavad Krupa, God takes you out of the Sattva Gun. See this point. Bhagwan ka jo dham hai, you can call it Akshardham, Golok Dham, Vaikuntha Dham, outside the 14 lokas. Those tattvas that are beyond the 14 lokas are beyond the Sattva Gun. So that is extraordinary. And that is where the Atma ka anubhav hota hai. Alaukik world, divine worlds begin to open up. Yes, beyond Sattva Gun. And that is so special that when a person is still living with the body, but is living in the gunatit state. You see, so now let's go, just quick recap here. The buddhi nashat pranashati, verse 63 from the Gita, that stops completely. There's no more damage to the buddhi. That is necessary for every human being. Okay, but now let's take it further. Let's assume that stopped completely. The buddhi, mind, senses are awakened into akhanda satsanga, akhanda vritti. Ananya chintayanto mam. Right? Ananya chintan. Bhagwan ka chintan, Bhagwan ka dhyan, unke saath sambandha. So in that state, the mind becomes sattvic. And then it is called sustained sattva gun, even at night time. And that's extremely rare. You're awake right now, at night time, this sattva gun is still there. How is that possible? It is. That's very difficult by itself, because at night time you have rajogun. The night time, the rajogun vanishes and just sattva remains even at night time. Ye ban sakta hai? This topic is not discussed even in the neuroscience books. You can open up thousands of neuroscience and sleep study books. Nobody talks about this. They have not even reached this point yet, where the Gita is talking about, Vachanamrita is talking about. इनको मालूम ही नहीं कि ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है. They are in kindergarten level compared to the Bhagavad Gita, the Agnaneshwar and the Upanishads. In the night time, the pure Sattva Gun can be there. Is this written anywhere in any scientific book? No. Guarantee it's not written anywhere. Because they have not even touched that dimension yet. They're only touching the surface of the scientific research. It's okay. What they're doing is good. But ye jo Sanatan Sanskriti mein, the rishis have taught us, you can evolve out of the vortex. They were masters of the mind. They were researchers of the mind. And because of that, they evolved internally into that extraordinary state where Sattva Gun is present throughout. And from that, in that, bhakti is done, dhyan is done. And in that opening doorway into Gunatit state. Extraordinary. This is the linkage, between these two verses of the Gita, the Vivek Chudamani, and this doorway into the Gunatita state. Right? So with that, let's stop here for now, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow. Om Divilingaya Namaha, Urdhvalingaya Namaha, Anandalingaya Namaha, Dvadash Jyotirlingaya Namo Namaha, Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyamamritat. Om Karacharanritam Va Kayajam Karmajam Va Shravananajam Va Manasam Va Paradam Vihitam Avihitam Va Sarvametat Shamasva. Jai Jai Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Swaha. Om Durge Durge Rakshini Tha Tha Swaha. Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu. Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Namo Narayanaya.